Hello and welcome back to We Bought a Mic for Good Mic Hunting, a Robin Williams career arc series. Welcome. My name's Ernest.
My name is Dean Hearshot, and if the propeller stops spinning, then my pacemaker stops working. And I will die live on mic.
And I'm Drew, and you might notice a bit of a weird tone up front in this episode, and that's because we wanted to respect the movie that we're talking about, which is the weirdest tone that you'll ever see in your whole life. Very excited.
A pop culture toy cast talking toys. Parentheses 1992.
Parentheses, like found in a dumpster.
A deranged
Watched on
nightmare.
grimy DVD.
Parentheses, illegal DVD ripped by Ernest Calderon.
So apparently this movie was available on HBO Max for a short while.
Oh, man.
And we just like totally missed the boat on it.
Why would they take this off? Oh, to make space for West Side Story? To make space for Drive My Car? No.
Well, okay.
There's space for toys.
So this and the next movie on our series, Mrs. Doubtfire, are both 20th Century Fox films. And now Disney owns that studio. And I feel like Disney, much like Fern Gully, which I feel like is also Fox Animation, didn't we say?
Yes, I think that we determined that was Fox Animation.
They want to bury this movie.
And we're not going to let them get away with
Disney
We're
doesn't-
talking Zevo toys, okay?
Disney doesn't want the people to know the sick, twisted vision of Barry Levinson's toys.
You gotta put this on like LimeWire.
Right.
Do you think that like Sam Levinson is going to sneak in like toys references in season 3 of Euphoria or what?
You know, he's in it. He's in toys.
I was trying
As a
to
little
find.
kid.
I was trying to find him. Is he just like one of the little kids
Yeah, I think
watching
the little
Santa?
extras.
I think
like
he's
in
one of
the
the little
beginning,
like drone pilot kids.
Whatever that fucking song is.
The music in this
Lot
movie.
to unpack here, folks. This is like one of those like YouTube video essays that's like 9 hours. And it's about Sam and
I already
Cat season 3.
I already told my wife, I was like, honey, don't wait up for me tonight.
Yeah. Oh,
It's gonna be a
she
long
saw
one.
you like walk out, like putting the propeller hat on.
She was like, oh no, he's just going to fucking spin that thing fast enough and just fly away into the night sky.
She saw it like poking out of your back pocket, and you're like trying to hide it. You're like trying to stuff it.
She's like,
She's
you
"What
told
is
me that you quit. You told me you were done with that life.
I'm never done with this life.
Oh man.
Where
All
do
right.
we even begin with this movie?
I don't even know what to say.
Let me see what
that was like my take on like when I finished it. I was like,
Hold on.
this is a deeply deranged.
Let me see what the first note that I have for the whole movie is. It just says immediately, who is this for?
right.
No, so that was kind of an existential question I was going to save till later in the conversation, but let's get to it now. The way that this movie starts, I was like, oh, this is like, you know, like a Santa Claus type story. You know, it's just like, this is definitely a fun family film. Definitely 100% a kid's movie.
Right. Well, it starts with kids.
This movie is like you should not show this movie to your fucking children.
No way.
Like there's literally a part where like Robin Williams is just so horny. He's just like, I'm trying to get laid with like a little puppet thing. Like it's deeply fucked up.
So this is the little log line that's on IMDb. When Lieutenant General Leland Zevo, parentheses Sir Michael Gambon, inherits a toy-making company and begins making war toys, his employees band together to stop him before he ruins the name of Zevo Toys forever.
So how should we discuss this movie in any kind of a spoiler-free context, or are we just gonna go right in with this
I think we
thing?
should go right in. I mean, like I said, this is a hard movie to find
Yeah,
right
I don't
now.
know how you
got to
can
get your
watch
hands
it.
on the dirty DVD.
If
There
you
is
can
no
find it,
Blu-ray available.
buy the DVD of this thing. Dear God, it's just a fascinating artifact.
Oh, got it right here. We're going to punch in here. We're going to zoom in. I got it right here.
And for
I'm gonna-
$99.99 a month, you can get this DVD sent to you. You do have 7 days to return it, but You can borrow it.
I'm trying to prop it up. I can't. It's not
I
staying
don't know
up.
what this is. You probably should
It's
have tried to do
falling
this
over.
pre-recording.
We have the power of
podcast.
like graphics, you know.
Right.
Just,
I mean, look at this thing. It's beautiful.
Let me see.
is
You
it
got
beautiful?
Robin's face.
Robin's face.
Wait, read the little the little tagline.
The
at
font,
top.
the ugliest font I've ever seen in my entire life.
So this
It's
is
whimsical.
This is a quote from National News Syndicate. They say, "A delicious holiday gift that'll make you smile."
Is that what this movie is?
So
Is it?
I don't know if any of those words. Is true.
getting to like the crux of this movie.
Wait. Hold that thought. Hold on. Can you read the Roger Ebert quote
Oh.
at the top?
Wait, is Roger Ebert high on this movie? Did he like it?
Just read it's at the very top of the box.
You, based on this quote, you would think so. I remember reading this, like looking up the movie. Visually, one of the most extraordinary films I've seen. A delight for the eyes, a bright new world. That could be in the context of like a 2.5-star review.
Right.
though.
Yeah.
You never know. What did you know what he gave it?
That's a great question.
I'm gonna pull it up. I'm pulling it up right now, just to kind of see. It is one of those things where this movie, like it. Not only does it not really, you're good call, 2.5 stars.
Literally let's
2.5
go.
stars. Which the fact that they had to put a 2.5-star review on the DVD cover, not a great sign for how critically well received this was. I think it has a 29 Rotten Tomato score,
Well,
C
Ebert-
plus on a Cinema Score,
Yikes.
which is Cinema
Awful.
Score. If it's a B in a blockbuster movie, that's
Yeah.
bad. C plus is like, that's
Yeah.
horrendous.
I mean, I think this movie should have been called War Toys. I think if they would have called it War Toys, then you would have gotten a better idea
were they
of what
thinking-
it was.
How are they not thinking about the SEO? You just type in toys in Google. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
You
I
type in-
I
you
did type in toys in Google,
yeah.
and guess what popped up? Not this movie.
Back
Yeah.
then, you go and type in toys on like
Yeah.
your ARPANET device.
Adult toys. Toys for grown-ups.
Toys
So-
for adults. Yeah.
This movie is like, it exists outside of space and time itself, but yet also it like has a very 80s sensibility to it. And we should say this movie is not filmed in the 80s. So it kind of feels outdated. There's like a lot of, I know the production designer, Fernandino Scarfiotti, I believe that is how you say his name. Definitely got that 100% right. Spent over a year working on the set designs.
Wow.
And you can feel that production design. There's like a lot of like Dadaism, like French futurism that was kind of brought into this whole idea. It kind of looks like an adult version of like what the Teletubbies set would look like.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of like fucking Tim Burtonisms all throughout this movie with the way that like early Tim Burton, how it's aesthetically trying to look.
Yeah. They're
Also,
trying to do Pee-wee's Playhouse.
You brought
vibe.
up Fisher King.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Terry Gilliam has movies that look a lot more out there than Fisher King.
Yeah.
Even like they're trying to do that, especially in this because this is more of I don't know. Like I said, immediately, who is this for? Is it a kids movie?
No.
But it's not an adults movie.
It's too dumb to be an adult.
I mean, it's half the characters in this movie are talking very much like actors reading lines. Like that's one of the things that really stood out to me. Like, and to me, it's hard for me because like I understand that this is Barry Levinson. This is a guy who's made a lot of great movies, and he's clearly going for something here when he keeps those takes in the final product of these like you know, kind of very stilted performances.
Yeah, it's like, that's a Pee-wee's Playhouse thing. Like the villain in Pee-wee's Playhouse is like like the most obvious like one-dimensional version of a villain you could have, you know?
But to me, I just couldn't help but feel like what we're left with is really sloppy storytelling. You know, like to me, this movie, and we're gonna get into it. This movie is fucking crazy. It's insane. It's batshit crazy. But I think I'm left with feeling like it's kind of a failure. Like it's kind of just a huge miss. Even though it is super ambitious, and I can marvel at like the massive swings that it's taken, you know, particularly with the visuals, like, and you know, you mentioned the production design. The sets are just absolutely mind-blowing. Like, watch this movie just to see some of these sets.
Yeah.
But overall, it's just like the entire time I'm like, man, this is just not clicking at all.
That's what I would say is that it doesn't come together.
Right.
It doesn't like for all that it does accomplish, it doesn't feel like it's a movie at all. Like it does it doesn't you don't entirely feel like you're in this world at any point, I guess.
I think so. I agree with what you're saying, but also there was part of me that loved this movie.
Right. Oh,
like there's. I think that
I feel the
I think
same.
this is like one of my like favorite like bad movies I've ever seen in my life.
You know why? Because there are a
It's-
lot of things in this movie that are very funny.
Well, because it's a
This
thing.
movie is,
I think
like,
that
it's-
part of me almost wonders if they found the movie while shooting it. Like they were originally intending to make a wholesome kids movie, and then like just while on the shoot, they were like having to call audibles, and they're like, "We have the bones of a child's script here, but
Yeah.
like." We're starting to kind of develop more of an adult sensibility to these things. So we're just going to go like very like nihilist at certain points with some of these like plot threads. Like we're literally LL Cool J is just like, man,
Yeah,
you
LL
slept
Cool
with my
J is
dad.
in this
Man, like I'm now like betraying my father.
Everything we've been saying so far, like, sort of points toward, like, we didn't have to tell you that LL Cool J's in this. You heard us talking about, like, the ornate sets
Yeah.
and the surrealist
And
feel.
you're like, that's LL Cool J.
LL Cool
That's
J
a
is probably
staple.
the son of, like, a military
Yeah.
dictator type guy. He
LL
is.
Cool J
He
is probably the son.
Sir Michael Gambon.
Yeah, he
Michael
probably plays
Gambon's
Michael Gambon's son.
Hey, love the progressive casting. Like this is basically tragedy at Macbeth, really, with just
Yeah.
progressive casting choices.
Yeah,
basically
because it's
Shakespeare.
also nowadays it is progressive to give LL Cool J more screen time than Jamie Foxx by a lot.
Yeah.
That's a very progressive move.
By the way, I just realized I've kept the same mood lighting.
That you said that you were going to-
Is this a toys lighting? The purple light?
I don't know. I feel like toys lighting is like changing constantly.
Like this?
What? Tell me, guys, what looks best with that?
Green?
Does that look good with the green?
I don't know. Give it Euphoria lighting.
Yeah.
This honestly is a very bisexual movie. I'm joking. It's not.
Okay, so you brought up Euphoria. I was talking about this before we started recording. This movie is directed by Barry Levinson, who is Sam Levinson's dad. Sam Levinson is the creator of Euphoria. This movie,
Yeah, Barry
is-
Levinson is a fucking incredible director. He's one of the like great unsung directors of the 80s
right?
and 90s.
Well, we talked about what's it called? Good Morning Vietnam.
yeah.
So this is a reunion for him and Robin. Sam Levinson was introduced to drugs on this set. I am sure of it. I'm doing a deep dive investigation.
You ready to cancel Barry Levinson?
Euphoria.
He's in it. He's in the movie. He's getting drugs.
Did I say Barry or Sam? I keep mixing them up. Sam Levinson, the child at the time of this production, was introduced to the drugs that would go on to inspire Euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
That's the energy that I'm feeling from this movie.
Yeah.
People were on some shit while they were making this.
Yeah. I think that the cast was, just everyone involved was on something. And like, I think that everybody involved was on different things is one of the
Right.
factors to like the manic energy of this story is like, the storytelling itself is very all over the place and very manic and wild. And then also everybody is just like taking downers who's actually working behind the camera.
Yeah.
So the central issue with the movie, I think, truly is that it just doesn't settle into itself, and it doesn't like coalesce. That said, for that being a problem, it is weird. Like that, I think a good amount of this cast does like understand what movie they're in. Weirdly, like Joan Cusack, for example. I think
Joan
is-
Cusack is great in this
she's
movie. She's so
really
good.
funny as this like very spacey, like bizarre, because that's what that character would be. She is the daughter of a I don't you know what, I don't even want to use words to describe what this movie is, but it's
More
like
of a vibe. It's a feeling.
it's a giant toy factory that plays really weird like early 90s music to get everyone amped up.
The music in this movie was driving me insane. Like, what the fuck? What
So-
were they thinking?
okay, so Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, it's Hans Zimmer. is up in here.
But some of
a lot of the stuff is like written by Hans Zimmer or written by somebody else, and then performed by Tori Amos. Tori Amos is all over this
Tori
soundtrack.
Amos does a relative, like the original version of the song, "The Happy Worker," is like relatively straightforward when it plays, even though it just sounds hilarious. Like you're like, this is just like I don't know, this is like a sort of like pop, like female singer songwriter doing.
Is that the song that like plays multiple times in the movie?
So once the military man takes over, there's a fucked up like techno remix that's always playing, and it sounds like scary to the ears.
Well, that's the thing, is that like I wish that this movie would lean more into the sinister side that it has, because that's like really interesting, because there's a lot of social commentary in here about like the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
And it's like weirdly prescient and ahead of its time when it's leaning into like drones and automated weapons.
They invented drones. They invented VR.
Yeah, I didn't make a full list of everything, but drone strikes and VR is something that's new in this whole story. Like it is kind of wildly ahead of its time with some of the things that it is trying to get out there and say.
Indoctrination of children into like wanting to be in the military.
It invented Call of Duty.
Well, so that's actually like a direct pull from Ender's Game. Not to spoil the book, but it's like having children do war while they don't think that that's what they're doing.
They think it's just like a simulation.
Exactly.
But they're like piloting drones.
Which, Ender's Game, good book.
Who takes on the movie?
Oh man,
Harrison Ford,
Asa Butterfield,
Sir Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, it's a no. So there are a lot of ideas being thrown around in the movie, but it's all with the veneer and the feel of such insane removal from reality that like these like terse connections to reality that we're talking about like don't make sense. Another thing that really doesn't make sense in this movie is Robin Williams making pop culture references. That to me stuck out more than almost anything. Him like talking about like Michael Jackson and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, in this
he doesn't
world,
know. He doesn't know. This character does not know who Michael Jackson is.
He doesn't exist. They're not on Earth. But there is no pop culture in this world that they're in. Like that was a misuse of Robin Williams, because Barry Levinson, obviously, he made Good Morning Vietnam with Robin.
Right.
And in that movie, he lets Robin do whatever he wants. And Robin does an amount of improvising in this, but it doesn't make any sense in this because this isn't the setting. The setting is the world. Like this, it makes sense in Aladdin because Aladdin is just a silly, like,
right. It's a cartoon.
But this is like, you want to ascribe depth to these characters because like you can tell that they're trying to get at stuff here. They're getting at depth. They're getting at like a weird, like cool creative vision. And then he's just like, oh, it's like a before and after Michael Jackson. Like this isn't where you're supposed to do that.
And you're right, because like aside from, I do think like this is a good Robin performance, and like a lot of the stuff that he's trying to do whenever he's like, he's good at being like manic and like all over the place and very like larger than life and having some of that Robinism, some of that physical comedy that we've talked about before in prior episodes, but then also like getting really meek and small whenever there's somebody who's like actually like being authoritative. Like he is good at embodying a child, and that aspect is really good for having Robin in this movie. But you're right, all the pop culture stuff is just like that's not the side of Robin that is you want utilized.
You brought up a pretty big central struggle for a character to have in a movie. Like he's the son of this toy like factory, like universe creator.
Yeah. It's like a Wonka thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Wonka on codeine was
that's what I said.
words.
Like his dad has just died, and he would be sort of the natural heir to like it. But then at the last second, his dad gave it to his brother, right? Mm-hmm. Which is this military like warlord,
Uncle
type.
Dumbledore.
Yeah. So what you brought up is an interesting struggle for someone to have is like, everyone loves him at this factory. He's always just been sort of like the natural, like no one's ever questioned him or his authority or his place.
Well, I feel like he's like a designer leader. Like you get the sense that like he has the ideas.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
He creates
VR in 1993.
He creates puke. He creates
that's
dude,
joke.
This is the puke of a white man. One of the funniest fucking lines I've heard in like so long.
That entire scene is like so good. Like that's what I'm saying. Is there are scenes in this movie or like bits or jokes. There are a lot of individual jokes that in a vacuum are just so funny.
Well, not so funny, but like, I mean, it is funny, but it's like it's so much more than that. Like that scene, that is a perfect scene. Just all around.
The room is shrinking like Tetris style around them. Like visually, it's magnificent.
Yeah, and they're just completely transfixed on the puke.
They
the
can't
whole time.
stop. Yeah, and they're just like, oh god, the room is caving in on us. Anyway, so that that struggle you mentioned is very interesting, and you could do a lot with just that. Then they give him a romance with Robin Wright, which like, hey, Robin Wright, I see you.
Well, this Southern Belle Robin Wright.
This is right before Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump hasn't even happened yet. Was she the original Mackenzie Davis?
I get those vibes. I'm feeling it.
Just like in terms of typecasting for like a tall blonde with a strong jaw.
Yeah.
Anyway, that romance is really weird. I don't know how. I still don't really know how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about it? Because it takes up a lot of time in a movie that has like a lot of like big.
I don't know.
Heavy...
A lot of things, a lot of plot threads in this movie take up a lot of time and then kind of just dissipate. Robin Williams just isn't in like a big chunk of this movie at one point.
Yeah,
like,
it's an LL Cool J movie.
Yeah, we
can't
just forget that Robin Williams is in here.
I love LL Cool J in this movie.
He's great.
He kind of.
I
dude,
don't know.
Talk about recurring bits that are great. His camouflaging
those
is
are
so
they're
good.
all
when
funny.
he's just in like a red room and he's like, bet you didn't see me here, and like turns around and he's wearing like a red jacket.
I love
so good.
Like
it's so fucking funny.
Yeah, he starts the movie strong as an actor. Like you get some genuine humor out of him, but the writing of that character is just funny. Like when like his dad thinks that he's like hit him with a car and killed him, and then he's like, "Don't worry, Dad, it's just a normal standard maneuver." He's like just alive. I love how much his dad just like loves him. Like his dad just thinks he's so cool.
Well,
always training, right, son?
I'm so torn because like I wish that I could love moments like that in this movie that are just so removed from reality, but every time something like that happened, it just like annoyed me.
Wow.
Like it just didn't click here for some reason. Like there was just something about this movie. Maybe I need to rewatch it like knowing what it is, because I just had no idea what to expect at all.
Honestly, yeah.
And like I didn't expect it to be the type of movie to fluctuate so much in all of these different tones and sensibilities. And I just didn't know how to react to moments like that.
No, I know.
Just like that's not a real person.
That's like something I've like tried to work on consciously over the last couple of years, is like being able to appreciate that like jokes are they come, even in a bad thing, they come on a 1-by-1 basis, and you can like one joke while not liking the product, or you can like it while hating the next one, you know. And there are jokes that are really, really great and like well written and pretty well executed directorially. It's just in the middle of a movie that doesn't work.
Right.
Like the movie, I agree. I don't think the movie just works.
There's some
fundamentally,
amazing, just like visual comedy, like the shot of Robin riding that toy car in the funeral.
During a funeral, he's in a little tiny bumper car, like in between hearses, and then like gets like knocked around by the cars.
That's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
That is
Dad's funeral.
It's also that's also like the very beginning of the movie, which so the reason that I wrote down immediately who is this for is because the movie starts with, I'd say, probably 5 minutes of just like old men talking, and I'm like, well, it sure looks like a kid's movie and it sure feels like one, but kids don't like that.
Well, first it's the Santa song, and then quickly,
long ass Santa song.
It's like a 5-minute musical production.
So that's okay.
That doesn't work.
Here's the thing, that this direction, and you just said musical production. A lot of this movie is directed like a music video. Like
Right.
that's just what I was just thinking whenever I was watching this. Is like
We do get a actual music
we get
video.
an actual. That's why it was so funny that they
And
ended
it
up just
rocks.
doing like an MTV style music.
They
video
do it like a David
bit.
Byrne song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it literally just sounds like a Talking
Well,
Heads like
Okay,
B-side.
we need to talk about this because there's so much to unpack here. First of all, I was losing my fucking mind trying to find this song because it plays again during the end credits, and I was trying to like hold my phone up to the. I was like Shazamming the song, and it
This
was like
was-
could not find
This one, it was on Beat Shazam with Jamie Foxx.
dude.
Sam is like, Jamie Foxx is like,
Yeah,
recognize
Jamie
it?
they
Foxx
have to-
co-star of
Yeah,
Toys.
famously the star of Toys.
Dude, I kept trying it, and I was like, okay, there's something wrong with like my audio quality that's like not picking it up.
No, just
Could
like
not
no,
find
it's
it.
just, dude,
like
it's
not
just the
real.
meter
I
song.
had to hunt for this. I fucking found it.
Yes.
It's not listed in the soundtrack.
It's not the Mirror song. I thought it's the Mirror.
Oh yeah,
song.
yeah, it is. You're right. It is
Okay,
listed.
good.
It's track number 9. I just wasn't looking hard enough. Yeah, so it's track number 9 in the Wikipedia section under soundtrack, by Thomas Dolby. Thomas Dolby, featuring Robin Williams and Joan Cusack.
Wow.
It literally sounds like a mix between Talking Heads and New Order.
I would love to hear
I
it
love
on
it.
digital surround sound.
Man, love to just
Is Thomas Dolby like the son of an audio magnate, perchance?
If I had to guess, I would probably say so.
Somebody uploaded it to YouTube. I will link it in
The video is
description
also-
below.
we're cutting.
The
out, we're
video
ending
is
this
so
episode with
psychedelic.
Mirror song.
It's an insane fucking music video. I love it. Like, this is the type of moment in this movie or sequence that I'm in love with. Because when we were talking about Aladdin, we brought up how like one of the reasons Robin Williams didn't want his name all over Aladdin is because he was so into toys and he wanted that to be his kids movie and then like not become a kids movie
Right.
guy. Because I can see how a creative would get so into the production of this movie because Robin Williams is like an odd guy, based on his his past and like his role selection and the fact that he didn't go on to like make a lot of stuff. We know he's not like necessarily a good like producer, like finger on the pulse. Like I know what people are gonna like.
Right.
He just liked making this.
Right.
I don't think he.
I think that
the amount of
everybody, like-
effort.
Yeah.
I think that like everybody involved seemed to just like have a blast.
I really think he
while they were
he
making
loved
this.
making it. He loved that he got to be. It got to be just bizarre and creative. He, I'm sure he saw this as like his sort of his peewees, his chance to be just as weird as possible. And he didn't know that it was how poorly it was going to be received.
Well, I mean, isn't that insane? This movie had a $50 million budget, an original story that is just about like somebody trying to come into a Wonka type toy factory and then turn
Also,
it like
heavy anti-military.
Yeah, project their military complex onto this toy factory to create like toys that have guns on them.
Right.
This had a $50 million budget. That's fucking insane that this movie
Barry
had that high of a
Levinson,
budget.
dude.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a blank check project
Yeah,
for
right.
Barry Levinson.
It's a big cast, and also these sets had to cost so much.
It's also, but like, it is funny that just going back to like, who is this movie for? It does ride this weird line between, because yes, there's like, they're in a toy factory. There's all these like cool production design choices that would be inviting to kids. But there's something unsettling about like all the
Yes.
toys themselves. Like this movie gave me, I had to look up what is the fear of
disturbing.
animatronics, automatonophobia. That's like how I felt while watching this
Yep.
movie. I felt like how people,
Especially the end.
yeah, when people describe like how they feel seeing like It's a Small World, and they're like, no, that shit like fucks me up. Like that's how I
yeah.
felt while watching this movie. I was like, felt an unease in my stomach while just seeing like these giant like machines moving around and scurrying all over the place.
So the end of this movie is a toy versus toy
it's
battle.
toy war.
And all I could think about was like, just turn them off.
It's the end.
Just pull the plug.
So
just
the-
take
Can
out
you
the
just
battery.
like go over, like step over them and like pick them up?
The final,
They're pretty small. They're moving very slow.
This is the big sequence of the movie. Like it's way too long.
I was so
this toy war
it's
is
like 40 minutes.
I was
of the
so
movie.
checked out.
No,
I was I
no,
do not.
Yeah,
care.
no, I was like checking where the cursor, where the little timer thing was. I was like, are you kidding? Like, it takes so fucking long to get through this. Like, really. I'm not going to say poorly directed, but like there's only so much you can direct when like the technology isn't there to individually control all of these toys.
But also because we've seen other sequences in this movie that look incredible.
Look so much better.
compared to this.
This is
climax.
like soft lenses, like super foggy, hard to like quick cuts everywhere. You can tell that like the shoot didn't go how they wanted it to.
Yeah,
Basically,
that was a
and yet
weird
they
thing.
still used a half hour of it.
Right.
That's they shouldn't have done that.
And
Like,
they still had a
they fucked
$50
it up.
million budget, and why does it look bad? Like right here at the very end, whenever they're trying to do like any kind of an action
Well,
set
why
piece.
why did they think that we would want to see in this like really very whimsical like Tony bizarre fun movie? Why would we want 30 minutes of action with like a few jokes smattered in? That is stupid.
Well, we get to see Robin Williams deliver a wartime speech.
Oh my god, that was actually pretty epic.
That
I mean,
was
yeah, it's
pretty
better than
cool.
the war.
We get to see them go back to Manhattan, as they called it, which I love a good miniature.
Yeah.
As somebody who had
Central
a tiny
Park.
villed
That was fun. LL Cool J like lying down, like
Yeah.
hiding in there was really funny.
LL Cool J is great in this movie. I don't know what you're talking about, Ernie. I loved LL. I loved everything he was doing.
He was just in a different movie.
No, here's the
Like,
thing: is that I think
everyone
that
is,
I think
yeah.
he knew what movie he was in. He was like, "I'm going to play this as straight down the middle as possible."
Right.
and that's exactly what you want from that role.
Yeah, because he is like it's just like as the serious like military side of like I loved every moment with him because it's first of all it's just LL Cool J and you're like whoa.
It's
what was the contract negotiation process?
LL Cool J
like,
is the son of Sir Michael Gambon. Just
he
kidding.
gets fourth billing.
The
I
way-
guess fifth billing.
the way that he's like all we hear about is him over and over, and then the way he's introduced to us is he pops out of a sofa. He's disguised in a sofa.
He is the
in a room.
sofa.
And his dad's like elated by it.
Yeah, he's like,
His
good
dad's
to
like,
see you, son.
God damn, son, you're so good at that.
Yeah,
it's like when like Lucille Bluth sees Gene Parmesan. She's like, yeah.
That's so true.
Like that dynamic is just a funny thing to come to. Like just a guy who's just in love with how his son is like a spy.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he doesn't love his son enough not to sleep with his son's fiance.
Yeah, he did fuck his son's like sexy nurse
Okay,
fiance.
no, wait. So I do want to talk just some of like the wild choices that are in this movie that I did love. Some of them like story wise doesn't work, but just some of the like actual directorial choices that just fucking sing. So Jack Warden plays in this movie the guy who owned the toy shop and died, their dad, and also Michael Gambon's dad. He lays in like a
The
military
Wonka type?
style. Yes, yeah. Like their father, the grandfather figure, is
well,
still
it's
alive.
Gambon's brother.
Yeah.
No,
which is-
Gambon's brother is the one who, but Gambon's dad is the one who they see at one point. Who's still
Oh,
alive,
yeah,
the military
yes,
guy.
you're right,
Yeah.
you're right,
He
yes.
is set up
Weird
in a-
family setup here.
Yeah.
set up
really weird.
in a military style tent where he has laying in a bed with a spotlight that can come down and land straight on his stars to show that he has 4 stars,
Yeah.
not 3 stars. Like
no,
his
he has
piece of
he has
shit
5. His
son.
son has 4.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gambon
okay.
calls it out. He's like, I can
know
tell.
this. You always turn on that spotlight every time I come in here that says you have 5 and I
Yeah.
only have 4.
I love Gambon in this movie.
I love that. No, and then you like think like, well, what kind of like a rusty shack is he in? And then we leave, and he has like a military style POW style tent set up inside of a mansion, like inside of the room of a mansion. That
rocks-
kicks ass.
It also
That's so
there's a lot of
fucking
sort.
funny.
I mean, there's a lot of sort of like toyification of the characters
Yeah.
in this because that's one example where it's like it's as if like
I thought that he was dead. I thought it was like a prosthetic of his dad or something.
no.
Like,
Well, so that's also reflected in Joan Cusack, who basically is a living doll and who designs dolls, and she lives in basically a diorama style dollhouse and
Well,
sleeps
super cool.
sleeps every night in a swan that descends from her ceiling. That looked so cool.
So the moments like that make me feel like I want to rewatch this movie because like there's so many little things like that are, it's almost like a throwaway.
You can tell somebody spent a year on the fucking production
for
design.
5 seconds of the
that's
movie.
the thing is
It's
like
insane.
pretty early because this movie started really poorly for me, and so I came to it as being
you weren't a fan of the Santa song?
that song was so fucking long, and then it cut straight to just a bunch of old guys being like, "Well, who's gonna take over the factory?"
Rough.
And like coming from that for 10 minutes, I was thinking immediately, "Oh, this is bad. This is just straight bad." And then you end up with so many little moments of real creativity and craft. And I mean, more importantly than any of that, like humor. There are jokes in this that I think are very, very, very funny. Ernie, what are the odds that we can get you to also rip the featurette trailers, TV spots?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
All of it.
You
know how much I miss being able to have the slightest little scraps of DVD special features?
Exactly. I want to see all of it. I want to get a poster for this movie.
do you want to get like the main poster, just Robin Williams' face? You know,
No, I definitely don't want that.
We
well, there are
haven't
certain
talked-
stills. There's like
The
there's
Ducks
like,
Crossing one.
Yes,
That's a
I
great one.
screenshotted that.
Me too.
I'll post that on the
Me
Twitter.
too.
That's a great
It's
one.
beautiful.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful.
It's genuinely beautiful. Also, the all of the stuff like outside, I could have sworn it was like a set, and they actually shot it outside. It's like in Idaho or something.
Yeah, it's set in. I was looking it up whenever because I was watching it too. It felt like something out of, and it's like different in some of like the colorizing and everything else like that, but like of something from Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Like it felt again like kind of otherworldly. But yeah, it's shot in I think southeastern Washington.
Yeah.
And north central Idaho.
Washington, Oregon, Idaho. That
in
region.
the Palouse region.
Those
There's, like,
rolling hills.
Yeah, the rolling green hills. Just beautiful.
Okay, so there's like one huge thing that I wanted to shout out. Going back to the Mirror song, or as we like to call it, Yolanda and Steve, their big number. Okay, we need to put a call out, a bounty out for Christopher McQuarrie,
Dude,
director
for fucking just
of Mission
straight
Impossible.
ripping this bit.
Rogue Nation literally steals, just abruptly steals this entire scene for
Yeah.
Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
So for people who don't know, in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, there's a scene where Jeremy Renner, the thief himself, the master thief, deploys a
No.
projector-like screen.
it's Peg, and it's Simon Pegg and Tom Cruise.
Oh, is it Peg? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
either way, they deploy like a projector-like screen to just display a solid image while Tom Cruise is sneaking past them so
Right.
that they can get past the security cameras.
It's the
In
same
this,
device.
They use the same device, but in a much cooler way.
Yeah.
Instead of just projecting the same device, which, by the way, would just been much easier for them to do. They like have the picture. They have the solid photo.
That's
I could've just
that's
kept
the
going
joke.
past.
Yeah, that's the joke is that they put up like a perfect replica of the background
That they
and
could've
then they
just-
play a music
they
video.
could've just
And then
left
they
it there.
dance in front of it.
They could have
It's
just
so,
left
that's
that
a
there.
great bit. Like that's really funny.
I just don't know
They do the
why.
Mission Impossible thing, and then the joke version of that is then like they could just do that, but then they do the music video.
That I
Which
could
they
not,
shot and,
I
like-
could not get enough of that because I know Chris McQuarrie is
Yeah.
now a toy's head.
Yeah.
Also, Thomas Dolby, by the way, is the guy who he was a musician in his own right. He put out Blinded Me with Science. Huh?
Well,
Makes sense.
I want to contact this man because now I'm afraid that like we need to put out a bounty for David Byrne too. Like we don't know the full story.
No, I think this David Byrne was already out and established. He
No,
did this.
Talking Heads
By the
didn't
way,
exist yet.
by the way, I do want to say, take this off of Christopher McQuarrie. We got to put it on Brad Bird because this is Ghost Protocol.
Okay, I
That's
wasn't
what,
sure.
I thought it was
I
Ghost
wasn't
Protocol,
sure.
but
Yeah.
I wanted to double check
because it's in the
myself, but-
Kremlin. It's in
Yeah.
the Kremlin, so Kremlin is Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
It's Ghost Pro.
Ghost Pro.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, don't you dare fucking put that on David Byrne, one of our great American heroes. David Byrne inspired this, not the other way around.
So we're
We're canceling Brad Bird.
We're removing the bounty for Chris McQuarrie for now. We'll
doubling
see
the bounty on Brad Bird.
on Brad Bird. Yeah, you fucking hack. You fucking fake piece of shit.
Well, actually,
You know what? Ratatouille 2 is canceled now.
That's also, this movie is where he came up with the idea of an incredible family.
Yeah.
It's so
like, what
obvious.
if, like, you know, instead of like a robotic sister, what if she was like kind of like freaking stretchy?
Yeah. When Joan Cusack is revealed to be a robot,
I mentioned this before we get.
I was like, oh, that makes sense.
It's something that's so insane and comes so far out of left field at the very end of the movie. And like the final, I don't know, like 7 minutes of the movie, Joan Cusack, you think that she's just about to die because she gets shot with like a gun, laser. I don't fucking. What is that creature? I don't know.
It's a toy.
I don't know. She gets shot, and you're like, "Oh my god, Joan Cusack is just gonna die," and then her head comically blows up, and you're like, "Oh, she's just a robot." And it really reminded me of the Threat Level Midnight episode of The Office, where at the end of the episode they're like, "Oh yeah, we forgot Dwight's a robot," in this whole thing,
the whole
like where they
time.
just add that in
Gotta
there,
oil him up.
like.
It rocks. It rules. I love Joan Cusack so much.
She knows what movie she's in.
I
She's
had-
so good. In
I have a
this.
memory of watching this movie. You know how there's like bars that just have like movies on mute on the TV?
What the fuck bar did you go to?
It was like some local bar like in like Sanford, Florida. Or maybe it was like
It was
like
Beef
DeLand.
O'Brady's.
Maybe that's not a local bar. It was like some like little like mini. It was like a bar that was like cool, you know. They had like a an N64, you know.
Oh, is it like one of those like gaming bar places?
It wasn't like a full on gaming bar, but it had like a little.
It had a
like
game
one
station.
TV with like games.
I wanted you to find this because wherever bar is playing fucking toys on
I'm in,
is
man.
No, they
man.
had it on, and I remember like clocking it like, is this like that weird ass Robin Williams movie? And it was when I looked at it, it was the scene where Joan Cusack was getting her robot head blown off. And I was just like, I don't know
Wow.
what the fuck this is.
And then you watched it and you're like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
You're more confused after watching this.
So let's talk about Robin Wright in this romance. Because it takes up a chunk of time in the movie. She's lovely. It's very enjoyable, like watching them have some rapport together. It just doesn't like make any sense or like fit in.
I'm glad that she's stupid because otherwise it gets kind of problematic.
She's just kind of like a southern like silly like dumb person, and then those scenes have a lot of improvisation where Robin is just sort of throwing stuff at her, and it's really fun to watch her like figure out what to do.
Yeah, the two Robins.
Because she's a great actress, and well, with any great actor, putting them alongside an improviser is always fun because even they get thrown. You know, they're like There are a lot of like sort of pauses where she just is like oozing just pure charisma in this.
Right.
So you can just watch her smiling and it's like, yeah, that's the reaction. But like if you look into her eyes, it's searching. She's like, what did he just fucking say to me?
She hadn't done, the only major thing she had done before this was Princess Bride.
Which was, you know, that was a big deal.
Princess Bride was 87.
It also, that makes sense to put her in this after that.
Right.
Because that's similarly sort of like an absurdist fairy tale style, like kids adults movie.
Yeah.
She rocks in this movie. It's kind of, once again, it's a weird thing to have in here for like a movie that maybe it's a kid's movie. Maybe it's like her whole thing is just 100% not a kid's movie. Robin Williams and her just like straight up fuck in this movie. Like,
Oh my God, the bra.
there is a sex
the bra
scene.
slingshot.
There is truly a sex scene that happens in
Oh
this
my-
movie, and they're having such hot and heavy sex that they don't notice
The window breaking.
fucking window shattering next to their bed.
Because
Right
Jamie
next to their
Foxx
bed.
is in a van trying to watch them fuck.
Jamie Foxx and fucking what's
Some
his
other
name?
guy.
It's Shelley Desai, right? I think that's Shelley Desai.
Sure.
The two of them are just two horny guys just doing fucking surveillance. And
Talk about military, huh? Just watching people with your
Say it.
drones. Everybody's so into drones these days.
It's true.
X-Tube. Just spying.
So that all happens. Jamie Foxx is exclusively in a van, and he's in 2 scenes in the movie. Incredible addition. I'm so glad to see him in this.
Right. Was this his big breakout?
Well, I feel like the show Jamie probably existed.
Was this around that time?
was this his big? Do you think that like they saw this and they're like, yeah, this guy's gonna be Ray Charles. Like this is who we need.
No. Oh my God! This is literally holy shit. This is his first feature film role.
Yeah, even the Jamie Foxx show started in '96.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, people saw this and they like saw
He
creeping.
was in Living Color.
Yeah, which
So-
was like SNL
okay.
basically.
Yeah.
So he does
He was a sketch actor.
in Living Color and Rock, and then some other stuff. Hanging with Mr. Cooper, Moesha, Third Rock from the Sun.
Yo,
and
But
then-
yeah,
Moesha.
this is
Shout out Moesha.
one of this like first like big like movie like
Oh my
big budget
God.
movie. It is crazy to think like they probably thought this is what it was a Fox movie, right?
Yeah.
So they probably thought that this was going to make like I don't know like 150 like just based on cast alone and stuff like that.
Did they? I
It's-
mean, when you're watching the final product, like,
Well, no, but that's the thing. We're in a time we have to remember, like, we have to kind of put our mind set back a little bit because movie stars don't really exist in the same way anymore. But like, whenever you put in Robin Williams, who's now starting to kind of reach his creative apex, Joan Cusack, who's like really at the peak of her powers right there. Barry Levinson, who's coming out fucking Oscars and shit like that. Like there's a reason why this movie had a $50 million budget. They
Right.
thought that this shit was going to be a hit. When did it come out? I wonder. Oh, April. Oof. Oh no, it was released in December 1992. So they put this in the money slot.
It's a
they put this
holiday
in
film.
the family.
yeah, it's
the
a
family
Christmas
holiday
Santa
film.
toys,
like annoying
Woof.
Reddit guy. Toys is literally a Christmas movie.
it's toys.
Is
guys.
Toys more of a Christmas movie than Home Alone?
So Barry Levinson was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Director.
Did they exist back then, or are they doing this retrospectively?
No, he lost to David Seltzer for Shining Through.
Whatever. The Razzies suck.
Yeah, Razzies are a bad organization and they shouldn't exist.
Yeah, they thought that All About Steve was bad. Okay. All right.
Okay, wait. Here's the best. Here's the best thing in this Wikipedia for toys. There was a video game.
I saw that,
It was
and I want to find this video.
it was released for the SNES and Genesis. It's called Toys: Let the Toy Wars Begin! Exclamation mark.
Yes.
Which should have been the title of the movie.
That's true. Well, that's probably they're saving it for the sequel.
Right.
Dawn of the Toys of the Begin.
And
War.
you played as Leslie Zevo.
So I think
Zebo.
it looks like it's just kind of like a little bit of a shoot 'em up. I'm pulling it up on YouTube right now to actually see.
Oh my God! Somebody ripped
what it
footage
looks like.
from it.
Yeah, somebody ripped footage from this. We're gonna have to.
You got to send me the
See,
link.
it's just-
oh my God! Yes.
Yeah, just like a general kind of shoot 'em up thing. I'll send a little clip to
You're using the
snippet in there.
He's using the peanut gun.
Yes. Dude, you're in like the floor. Like you can see the little fucking scary ass animatronic guy in here. He's shooting helicopters and tanks. This game looks awful. This game looks really bad.
Kind of like it.
I can't believe it's not a hit. This is like starting to get into that golden age where people don't know what to do with video games. They're like, fuck it, we have a movie. Let's also like put like $250K on making a video game. We'll hire like 2 developers to actually put this together in a weekend. It's like right now getting into that time where SNES and everything is starting to blow up, and every movie also has to have an associated video game to it.
So I wanted to take a look at like the exact placement of when this movie opened. So it opened. What did you say? December
of 1992.
Late December.
I mean, yeah,
December 18th. Okay. So this movie
that's
opened
prime real estate spot right there.
This movie opened at number 6. Opened at outside of the top 5.
Yeah.
Woof.
Okay. Aladdin, which we covered, was still in the top 5 at number 2 on its 6th weekend. 6th week of release.
Batman
Still at number
Returns
2.
has got to be up there, right? Or is Batman Returns, was that released earlier in the year? I know that's 92.
Is it? I think it's 91.
Is that 91? I might be
I think
getting
it's
everything
91.
mixed up.
Yeah, it's not on here.
Oh.
Number 1 is a Tom Cruise vehicle. Any guesses?
Cocktail.
No. You Can't Handle the Truth.
Oh. Wow, I didn't realize that came out in 92.
A Few Good
yeah,
Men.
A Few Good Men.
Number
Yeah.
1.
Jerry Maguire.
Number 3
Impossible.
is Chris Columbus, a preview of next week's Mrs. Doubtfire episode.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
A sequel, holiday sequel,
Gremlins 2.
Home Alone 2.
Home
Yeah,
Alone
he didn't
2,
do
yeah,
Gremlins 2.
Home
He just
Alone
did the
2.
first one.
Then something called Forever Young. The fuck is that?
I wanna be.
The Bodyguard?
Oh yeah, The Bodyguard was.
Wait.
The Bodyguard is where the Whitney Houston "I Will Always Love You" came from. That's what it's most notable
that
for.
beat Toys.
Is
the box
it's got a
office.
Muppets Christmas Carol has to be up there, right? That's 92.
That's in its second weekend.
Oh, okay. It's second. Okay.
So I guess, yeah.
Where's
I guess
that at? Where's that at on the list? Is there a big
right,
drop off?
right under Toys.
Oh, damn.
Damn, that, yeah.
God,
that movie
Muppets
didn't
Christmas
do too
Carol is a
hot.
classic. Come on, guys. Yeah, I don't care, man. I actually really had a blast with this movie. Like, it doesn't work. It definitely, like, it 100% does not work as a movie, but I also, like, I never felt, like, bored to the point of wanting to turn anything off. I think
Right,
I was
like
just,
you're intrigued.
I was just, and a lot of it is kind of like maybe it's just the performers figuring out, like, trying to make the best of a bad situation. Maybe it's the production design just being fucking just so on another heightened level that you can't really look away from a lot of it.
It reminded me of a movie I've talked about on the show a while back called what's that movie called? The Fall.
Oh yeah. The Lee Pace
movie. Where that's a movie that, like, a lot of people aren't gonna vibe with, and that's why it's not popular, but it is, like, just straight up, visually stunning, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what this movie kind of reminded me of a little bit, where it's just like there are shots that I've never seen in any other movie ever, and you can just tell that there was a lot of thought and work put into them.
So you mentioned the honestly visually stunning. Let's nip tuck this baby. Let's go full wabammy on this thing. What is one change that you would make to this movie to make it? Yeah, to make it better.
You're gonna make me
One,
just-
no, you have to do one change to make this movie work.
Do you have one or something?
No, I want to hear what you say. I hear what you guys say.
I mean, I would probably excise a lot of the actual toy warfare stuff, even though I like it, even though I think that that's, like, a good thing to have in the movie.
It's way too long and it's not entertaining.
It takes up a lot of room in the runtime. Like, I like the fact that this movie leans into, like, the military industrial complex, and it, like, questions that. And again, like we mentioned, it feels ahead of its time with, like, drones and all these things. But I feel like it doesn't add to the overall picture that much at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I would kind of, like, trim that up a little bit, and in doing so, like, really trim down the end, because, like, I feel like in the end they're really trying to do something with that, with all the toys fighting
This
each
movie
other.
should be an hour 45. It shouldn't be 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so you just trim that up and you end up with something that's more whimsical. I would have it end up being a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more whimsical. You still keep some of that more, like, adult-y kind of humor. You still keep the romance, but you go more into like just this weird toy factory and these weird sets, and you just vibe more without like the plot of like, hey, we're trying to get a point across.
Well, here, what if I go the other way? Let's make this movie rated R.
Okay.
Let's go all the way in. Let's make this like
Then,
very
yeah,
like cynical.
that works too.
Let's go in on like capitalism while we're at it, talking about military industrial complex. Let's fucking see Robin just going at it.
Well, then don't call it toys.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is with that this movie is making somehow less than 25 million.
Call
if you
it
make
Let
this
the
R-rated.
Toy Wars Begin.
It I want the whimsy though.
Yeah.
The thing it's not an answer because it's too much of like it's not like a single fix, but it's the beginning and the end need to be fixed a lot for me.
Exactly. The good stuff is
Because
in the middle.
in the
It
middle
is. It's
we
the
hit a
second act
rhythm.
sings.
We really hit a rhythm because they are dealing with the plot, but it's not taking over the movie because there is really a lot of us just like looking at this world, like them just existing in it, and that's where the joy of the movie is. I don't know. A lot of feelings about this movie. I think that this is just a must watch for anyone who likes weird movies. Like it's a weird story. It's weird that it exists. It's weird that no one talks about it. And
It is weird that people don't have like some kind of a weird nostalgia to this, like they do with something like Pee-wee's
Because
Playhouse
nobody
or something.
watched it.
Also,
Pee-wee was a hit.
Yeah,
People
no, but I'm
watched
saying
Pee-wee.
like this movie like should have a revisitation.
it
is
has a
all.
lot of
Let's-
it has a lot of opportunities to do live action cartoon humor, that's another thing that Pee-wee's does. Like Pee-wee's Playhouse is basically just a cartoon but live action, and so that's a lot of the visual stuff has that feel where like there just aren't a lot of movies that are made like this where you could just watch jokes unfold like that. For example, we've already talked about a few, but at the end, like almost the only part of the final sequence that I really loved is LL Cool J is in like a corridor, and he's being chased by a bouncing ball, which that alone, that's funny. And then descending from the other side is like a very slow walking like baby doll robot.
Yeah.
And he has no idea how to stop
He's
this.
scared. The bouncing ball then sort of like unfurls itself, and there's like a scary looking doll inside the bouncing ball. That doll then unfurls itself, and there's like a blue scary doll inside of that. Why? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And then when they're basically about to shoot LL Cool J and kill him, he simply jumps and hangs onto the corner of the ceiling in the wall. That's how he gets out
Well,
of it.
here's the thing: he's a military man.
Yeah, he just
Did you think about that?
like in between the ceiling and the wall, he just like jumps up there and is just hanging out there.
Yeah.
Like that's all really funny to watch happen in real life in a movie. Like, that's
It's funny,
crazy.
but when you think about it in the context of like them trying to tell a story, it really falls
Here's
apart.
the thing. I think that like the difference is that like within like 10-15 minutes I was like, this isn't a movie.
yeah,
I was
that's
like,
no,
this
exactly.
is, this
It's
is,
not.
This is gonna be a collection of scenes,
Yeah.
and like I'm happy with
It
that.
has little kid logic like that. And another example is the way that this is another I hate bringing up Pee-wee so much, but it's just all over this fucking movie. The way that Robin tricks the security guards, because the thing is, it's not just the music video, which is a very, very funny joke. He also goes up to their security cameras and puts a little placard that says MTV over what the actual camera feed is. And they're like, yeah, I guess it's MTV. I don't know.
I guess there's just MTV.
Like
here.
that's just like little kid brain, you know?
Yeah.
That's just telling you that this isn't real.
There are a lot of moments like that in this movie. Like there's one that I thought of that it's like when Joan Cusack sees that little doll crawling towards them, and it's like obviously at this point like shit is going down, and she's just like, oh, that's a cute little doll, how
Yeah.
adorable. And then it turns out to be like a gun doll.
It's a gun.
It's just like duh. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's something that like, you know, if you're actually trying to hold any type of narrative continuity, that character, well then later we find out that character is actually a robot. So but if you're trying to hold narrative continuity, you're not going to have the character think that it's a cute doll. You're going to have her think that it's a gun.
Is this movie better or worse if Joan Cusack actually sympathizes with the war robots because of
Oh, if
her
she
also being a
turns?
robot?
You have to stop trying to make this movie serious. You have to stop.
Well,
What if there's like a West Side
isn't-
Story type dance
Isn't there
sequence
like a
between
rationale?
her and Tank?
isn't there a rationale like for her existence where they're like, oh yeah, mommy made
Yeah, mom died too soon, and like you were like a weird little kid. So we
daddy
need to give you
made
a
me to
friend.
replace mommy.
And then LL Cool J is like,
oh.
I guess you haven't aged in the last 30 years, so I guess that does make some sense.
Wow, that's yeah. See, that's sort of
It's
the
just
problem.
it's a throwaway joke. Like 7 minutes left in the movie.
It's
That
trying-
she's just also
well,
a
it's
robot.
it's the fact that
It's so-
that like the people who made this aren't in like they don't like deal in this field. Like this
Right.
isn't their forte. So they're
Well, also they
they're-
were on a lot of drugs.
I know. But even being on drugs like that, they're trying to make too much sense out of it when they should just let this be like a piece of abstract art, like children's
Yes,
art.
I would like that more if
Yeah.
it was
Make
like
it make
so
less sense.
detached.
yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I think that this does make no sense at all. And I'm happy
I know,
for-
but they're
this
trying
movie-
to make it make sense. That's why the movie
problem
doesn't
is
work.
at a certain point I turned my critical brain off while watching this
I know.
movie.
No, I know.
Because I gave myself kid brain, but like with adult humor. And I think that's really at the end of the day what I think they were trying to go for is like, we want to make a kids movie for adults. We want you to think about this the same way that you would a kids movie, but this is definitely not for fucking kids.
It's just it tries a little bit too hard. Like I agree, and I was able to really enjoy the movie because I did that same thing. But you have to ignore a lot of moments where the movie is trying to do other shit and it's not working.
Right.
And that's fine. Like I was able to do that pretty effectively. It's just that's why this isn't like a cult hit all these years later, because like it's really uneven. But when they're going for like pure absurdism, like they do it. Like they do
Right.
it pretty fucking well. So like I don't know. I wish they leaned in a little more.
Should we get to the categories?
Sure. I'll say this movie is a masterpiece, and I think it's perfect. The more that we break this movie down, the more it rises. For
All
me.
right, you're full Dean Hearshot mode right
I'm
now.
full.
and I
I'm all
I
in.
won't-
I'm Levinson mode right now.
All right, the Robin Williams series categories are brought to you by The Tragedy of Mick Ultra,
This will be
coming soon to our Oscar predictions episode.
featured on our list of Oscar cocktails 2K22.
First,
low
The
effort
tragedy of
Oscar
Mick Ultra
cocktails.
is that
beer.
it got one nomination. Yeah, our cocktail list is just a Mick Ultra.
Spider-Man No Way Home brew.
Mm-hmm.
First category is the best Robinism. I have one. Should I just go ahead and say it, or do you guys have one that comes up real quick?
No, go ahead and list yours.
All right. So the first thing that I can come up with, I already shouted out one that I really like, which is the little bumper car in the funeral. I think that's definitely up there. But I think my pick is that suit that he wears to that important toy meeting.
I love that scene.
Dude.
That's like constantly like making
I'm
noises.
glad. No, it makes noise. It makes a different noise based on what movement you make. And so, like, and he just insists on like, I'm going to drink this tea during the meeting.
Yeah.
And the funniest part is like he walks out of the meeting and then just like turns the suit off. Like it had an off button the entire time, and he just chose not to do
Yeah.
it despite realizing it
and
was an
he
important
just
meeting.
lets the suit do the work. He's not going Robin mode.
That scene is really funny, man.
I really like that.
When he raises one of his hands, it does like a Michael Jackson style, like, it's a funny scene.
That's a great bit. Great bit.
There's one moment that it's a Robinism, but in like a bad way, because in a lot of these movies he's horny, and I don't like it when Robin's horny. And he literally at one point in this movie says like, I want to get laid.
No, it's him. It's going alongside
great,
Robin
though.
Wright. Robin Wright, who is still has training wheels on
her bike.
on her
Because
bicycle.
she's like a child.
Because she's also a child. This is two children. Kind of problematic there. But
Basically,
we're not gonna.
No, it's basically
No,
old.
you said this movie's a masterpiece. So continue.
Yeah, so it's not. Yeah.
Pulls up alongside of her, and then just like while driving, just busts out a fucking puppet like Mr. Rogers style, and just like, I'm trying to get laid. Just kidding. Who said that? Who said that?
He's so
He's
horny.
just trying. He
He does get laid.
He's
though.
spent
It
his
works.
entire life inside of a toy factory. This man,
Yeah.
and what we assume he's like, what, his 40s or something like that.
He's
like
an
this is
Oompa
his
Loompa.
first time.
Did he
right?
know that Joan Cusack was a robot or no?
No, yeah,
That's a great
he definitely
question.
does because he's like, "Oh, they blew up my sister." Like the way that he reacts to it, he's like, "Oh
How
yeah."
do
of course
we
she's-
know that Robin Williams isn't a robot? We don't know
That's a
for
good
sure.
point. I just think if he knows that Joan Cusack is a robot, I bet he's fucked her. That's all I'm gonna,
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I'm not gonna interrogate that one.
I mean, why not? Are we going full ex machina on here? Like,
I'm not I'm not gonna dive in that. What's the next category?
what's the best moment in the whole movie?
Fucked her in the robosi.
I think that the more and more I think about it, I think the funniest scene, it's like a perfect mix of all the elements of this movie that really work, is the vomit scene. It's a scene where they're playing with the toy vomit. There's just
Everything
this recurring
clicks in that
this
scene.
recurring bit with Michael Gambon about how he needs more space for just something. He's just like, I need more space. I need credit.
Yeah.
I need space. I need space. It just keeps expanding to the point where they're just in this white room, and as you described it, like Tetris style, just coming in on the walls. They're like, everything's shrinking. Let's just get up on the table here.
Yeah.
And then like 4 people get very cramped up. They're looking at the different color vomit, and they're like, should we add some peas and carrots? No, we need to cut the vomit budget. Like we're losing money on this product. And they just like, I see that. That's the vomit of a white man right there.
Yeah,
we need to add some ethnic. Oh,
yeah.
like tie time, like.
He's like, yeah, we're doing this. This is so Anglo-centric.
Yeah, he's just
Vomit.
like, if I see some teriyaki in there, I feel represented.
Yeah.
He says I feel represented by the vomit.
One of them is a
That's-
poop, and they're like, oh, I got to give this to Peter. For
I gotta
poop.
get this to the poop department.
It's hard for me to pick a better set between that one and the duck crossing, because I love both of them.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, it would be this vomit scene, just because the scene as a whole, the way the set serves the totality of the scene.
Yeah.
It is like it all works.
Because it's obviously it's a draw from Willy Wonka, like the shrinking room thing. The thing is, in Willy Wonka, the only reason that room is like that is so Willy can be like, isn't that fucked up? Like that's the whole point of the room being like that, is he can be like, damn. Yeah, I'm magic, kids. Like, you strap in, you fucking idiots.
Right.
It's like another difference between Willy Wonka and this movie is that Willy Wonka, like in Willy Wonka, everybody is like swept away by the whimsy and by the magic, except for Willy Wonka. And Willy Wonka's like, I'm actively gonna no direction where we're going, and like I'm going to like send you down a bad acid trip. I'm gonna make you just like blow up and like possibly die by fan. Like he's just like actively trying to kill you while you're in his shop. And Robin Williams is kind of like the antithesis of that in a lot of ways. He is the kid, and the adults are coming in and trying to like bring him down to earth.
I almost wish that like the big man hadn't died at the top of the movie. I wish that he would have died like maybe in the middle, like maybe rounding into the third act or something. We could have gotten a little bit more from there, so we would have gotten more of that vibe, of that like Wonka vibe. Make that character like this, because the Gambon character is like the overseer of the operation, but he's not whimsy. I mean, he has
his
whimsical.
Suit? Can we talk about a suit?
Yeah, it's like a Hawaiian print.
It's like Hawaiian camo. It's
It looks great. I love it.
I honestly, it's from the duck crossing scene. He's wearing the suit with like the matching fucking like little go-kart bumper thing. It's so good. It's so good.
The scene that I realized that I was going to kind of enjoy this movie is when Gambon is in like his first board meeting, and they're talking about toys and like really getting into it, and he's like falling asleep, and then someone says espionage, and he's like, espionage, and he wakes up and he pulls him into a closet, and he's like, I'm gonna bring my son in here.
He lights a match for them to talk. He's like, talk quieter. Too quiet.
What'd you say?
Too quiet. Talk louder, son. And he just talks like louder than he ever first started.
Great scene.
Yeah, and that's
great
that.
moment.
I don't know. That's the
Great
first
moment.
scene that like felt like the movie was clicking, where it's like, oh, this is just like a silly dumb movie.
It kind of sprung up a little, like sprung to life a little bit. You're right.
If they had stayed in that zone a little longer, it would have been a great movie.
I think I love the vomit shrinking room, but I think my moment of the movie is Yolanda and Steve.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I literally like sat up in my seat a little bit when that whole thing.
Yeah, that's like future generations will
transcend
remember Yolanda.
to
And Steve.
Yolanda and Steve.
Our
Dude,
children's children will
so
talk of Yolanda and Steve.
You brought up the whole like Dadaism, and like if you kind of freeze frame that video, it has like very direct references to specific.
René Magritte.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Like the Dadaism is all over this movie, and like probably most obviously so in that scene.
Son of Man, Golconda, which is just like a famous painting by say it again, Magritte.
Magritte.
Yeah.
Who did? I mean, I don't know why you're
good.
looking at me for that, but he's the one who did the painting
Natural
of the
art snob Drew.
the
over
guy in the
here.
suit with an apple in front of his face.
Yeah.
It's that guy.
Also, Italian Futurism, Fortunato de Pero. This is all in the Wikipedia, but it's just like they managed to cram in everything that inspired all the set design for the whole movie into this, like, you know, Talking Head-esque number by Mr. Dolby.
You know, it's a pretty good song.
I was
enjoyed it.
jamming to it.
I
The
had a good time
lyrics
to
are
it.
out there. They're really getting into like some heavy shit with those lyrics.
Yeah, the Mirror song.
It's quality.
That's my moment. Okay.
Wait. One other scene that I love. It's an LL Cool J scene. It's the first time that we get like a human moment from LL Cool J. It's whenever he's sitting there at the in the little cafeteria space, and he's like eating his food next to Joan Cusack, and he's like, I can't even eat food. My food keeps touching.
Oh, yeah.
I like military plates. I'm a military man. I like a military meal.
He keeps
I want my
saying
string
that.
beans to be quarantined.
He says so many
A
times.
little
I'm a military guy.
a little fortress around my mashed potatoes, so my meatloaf don't invade my
Yeah.
mashed potatoes.
That was a good moment. He wasn't that bad. I gotta cut him some slack.
I loved LL. I think that he was perfect for this movie. For
Right.
what he was trying to do.
It deserves to go over. Like, we should post like some of him in this movie because it's been kind of going viral on Twitter recently how insane his music videos were. Because they were. He was
Isn't he on TikTok? Isn't he like getting big
I
on
think.
TikTok?
He was always the hammiest motherfuckers from day one. And like no one knows about this movie. It's a great we gotta cut.
We
some
should
shit out of
tag him on TikTok and be like,
it. Yo.
answer for your
this.
crimes.
Answer for this.
Answer for your
Yo,
war
what
crimes.
happened?
Is your dad
I want like a modern day
Gambon?
shot of him just like popping out of a couch. Now like 55-year-old LL Cool J.
Yeah.
Just,
Can we buy a cameo of LL Cool J like in full toys mode? All right. The next category is what would you do, fellas? WYD.
well, it's tough to pick. So, who are we going for in this movie?
It's hard.
There's a few different options.
There's no like audience surrogate in this story.
Here's who I think is the closest thing to an audience surrogate. What if we are Robin Wright's
Yeah, it's
character?
got to be. She's a
We just
person.
get a job. We get a job at a toy factory.
Right.
So not only are
in
we
in the middle of a field.
Yeah, in the
with
middle
an
of just
elephant
roaring field.
statue chimney.
I'm definitely gonna go along with, even if I'm not into Robin Williams because I'm just not attracted to him. He's like,
He's the son of a mogul.
Yeah,
She's stuck in-
He's not that hairy in
and,
this movie.
and she's stuck working in like the copier room.
Right.
He can take her out of that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ride him to the top.
I mean,
And
but
then I'm gonna dump
just
him.
think, like, you get your dream job. You've been wasting away at Toys R Us, just like trying to get your bid break to work for Zevo Toys, and you finally get that moment. And then the military people come in, and they're like, "We have to actually change up everything in military toys." And also, we think that you've been working out this copying room. We think that you're selling our plans to foreign toy companies.
Yeah.
Weird plot thread that goes absolutely nowhere. They abandon that like almost immediately. That introduces the whole espionage theme, and so they can introduce LL Cool J. But like, they aren't worried about anybody stealing their plans anymore for their toys. Like very quickly into the movie.
Yeah, I think she probably is the best bet for this category. I can't think of anybody else. I think what I would do is I would probably just I mean, hold on a second. There are a lot of people employed at this facility.
Yeah, tons of them.
What do they do? Where do they go? There's warfare. What is
a
happening?
lot of them, they say are quitting or getting fired because they're bringing in children instead.
Okay.
My question is, what is up with those kids? Do those kids like not see their families anymore? Because it seems like they're just like living in there and just playing video games.
Those are human
24/7.
trafficking victims.
Well, they come in on a school bus, so that's not.
This is a building in the middle of nowhere. Like it looks like a remote facility. So I don't know. I mean, if I was Gambone, what I would do is I would just like fully just take over the entire operation. Don't even keep any of the existing staff. Just clear house.
Well, Ernie, you've always had a military complex that you'd like to push on us, so
Right.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that's
You gotta
that
get those
you
toys out.
You really related a lot to the Leland character.
Exactly. Yeah. Is this good Robin or bad Robin? This is okay.
I think it's good, Robin. There's some bad in it. There's
It's
some.
not
It's just
great.
like I said, a lot of his riffs don't make sense in this world.
Yes, that's fair.
So I'd say okay is right.
Yeah, it's serviceable to a point.
I'd give it a 6.5 on the Robin, on like the quality of Robin's scale.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Robin's
like
out of 10.
it doesn't have to be Robin in this role.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get to
Yeah.
that. So Cagey Couch first before Robin. Where do we put Nicolas Cage in this movie? And why is it LL Cool J?
He'd be I mean, he would
He'd
be fucking awesome in that part.
That's like the only right answer. He'd be so good as a dude. Can you imagine if Nicolas Cage turned around and was like, "Oh, look at me, I'm a couch, I'm a couch." They'd be so good. That would kick so much.
And this is
ass.
92, so he's not grizzled yet. Like you could still buy him as like a spry young military type.
He could even maybe lead this movie.
Interesting.
Raising Arizona is an absurdist comedy.
Right.
He leads
Yeah.
it very well. The thing is, the thing is, Robin still, even though like it's not the best Robin, he does improvise a lot in this movie. Apparently, his entire like big war speech was improvised.
Yeah, I buy it.
Barry just like
It
says
had that vibe.
that Barry just like had the camera on whenever Robin was there.
Yeah.
But I could see that. I don't know who ideally could be if we're recasting. Who could do this?
Who could do Robin?
Yeah,
So
LL Cool J.
yeah, let's just put LL Cool J in there. So here's one that I was thinking of, and I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, but I'm thinking John Neville. You brought up Terry Gilliam. And I'm thinking of like The Adventures of Baron Muskakin, like something like like that kind of Terry Gilliam. Like if we do go for like more of an absurdist, more
Yeah,
like
kind of like
true
a
whimsical,
that guy character actor.
kind of something more like that. If we are going to try and bring in like, something like Monty Python crew, like somebody of that caliber, like bring somebody like that in.
It depends if you wanted to change the direction of this movie, because if you wanted to, because here's the thing, like you were saying earlier, that to make this movie R-rated and go more sinister.
That was like a half joke. That is a route that you can take this
but
movie.
I feel like Robin could do that. I feel like he could do that really, really well. If you strip him of a lot of the whimsy and you try to make him like go kind of like, I don't know, a little bit of a freak mode. Like I don't think, have we brought this up in our series? But they brought this up in the Redacted Popular Movie podcast, that Robin Williams was in talks to play the Joker in Batman. And that would have been very different from Jack Nicholson. But they even wanted, once Jack got that part, they even wanted him to do Riddler in the part that Jim Carrey ended up getting. So they were thinking of him for those types of roles.
Yeah,
right.
The villainous roles. And in this movie, he's not doing that, but he could if he wanted to. Like this movie is tipping in that direction. So you could have somebody do that. I think if you're trying to slot somebody in here, you could have him be the fun, goofy type, or you could have him be the real, kind of dark type too.
Yeah, Robin Williams ends up in a weird place in this movie because I think that he is doing some things that are very good. Like he is doing some things right for Robinisms, but it's not. I don't blame Robin for the faults of this movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. He couldn't have done much else. I don't.
What
think.
about Eddie Murphy? We feeling Eddie?
No. I don't know. Who would just like blend into this world?
I mean, we've mentioned it, but the easiest one is just Paul Rubens. What if you just put Paul Rubens in there and just make it full whimsy?
But also a little dark.
Yeah.
He can do it.
I mean, Paul Rubens is probably it's a layup of an answer, but that's probably the route if you want to change as little as possible else to the story, but just inserting Paul Rubens to this role, he just takes like that main character and just makes it zanier.
Hey, I just mentioned him, but Jack Nicholson. I feel like Jacko could fucking rock this movie both ways, inside out, backwards and forwards. Any which way you want to.
This hat.
Any which way you want to throw it at him, he could fucking do it.
I don't know. Sure, why not? I would like to see it. That's for sure.
I think Robin ends up in a good place here. Yeah. I think this movie overall doesn't work, but I like the fact that he's in it because, it brought us to the movie, because we're doing the series and we're trying to see like the types of things that he was going for. And this was during a time when he was just about to get his like meteoric rise.
Yeah.
And
it's
he
a
chose
movie
to do this role.
And it's a movie he felt very strongly about.
You mentioned it. This is the movie that he like was just like, I want to throw my weight behind this and not Aladdin, this is why our guy wasn't a great producer, is because he's not good at actually seeing which projects are going to be successful. But, this movie's bad. I also kind of loved it. I have a lot of complex feelings about it. I think that it's like kind of a visual masterpiece and there's some unbelievably great things in it. But
I wish they kept those sets. Probably fucking burn that shit.
Well, apparently it took up almost the like entirety of the 20th Century Fox studio.
Good.
Like they took up so much. It makes sense that this movie had a $50 million budget just because of all like the amount of space these sets took up. And then also they shot on location for a lot of the exterior stuff with the actors.
And all that looked great.
Yeah, looked great.
Visually stunning.
Honestly.
Woo!
I'm being
all right.
I'm being summoned away.
Any final toys thoughts?
Yeah, I keep on thinking that I have to pee really bad.
Do you have any more? You want to elaborate on that or?
No,
Bye.
I let the art speak for itself.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in and watching and listening. Thank you, beautiful donors, for donating. Please be sure to follow us on social media at WeBoughtAMic and email us at WeBoughtAMic@gmail.com. If you have any questions, feedback, or comments, subscribe on our YouTube channel and donate at anchor.fm/WeBoughtAMic. Also, check out our website, WeBoughtAMic.net, to get every episode delivered to your email inbox. And stay tuned for more Robin as we get into Mrs. Doubtfire next week, and then Jumanji after that. So getting into the meat. Plus more movie and TV catch-up with Atlanta coming back, Better Call Saul coming back, Ambulance coming, Everything Everywhere All at Once coming. Anything else on the radar? I think those are the big things.
I'm really just excited for our like 27-hour ambulance pod. Yeah.
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Stand up. Thanks for tuning in. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.